Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, and good evening to everyone. As sir has already mentioned, that my topic for today's would be power of storytelling. I would continue with the because I know that the word storytelling is something which you would find it quite kiddish. Why did I use this word storytelling? But I would I would like to relate it with the madam who was a senior HR, if I'm not wrong, because I joined a little late. I think everybody who is giving speeches here is doing nothing but storytelling. And so storytelling is really powerful. And I hope that all of you would agree with me. Before I begin, I would continue with my explanation using a PowerPoint presentation. I hope that would be a real help to you when it comes to understanding of the storytelling. Thank you. I hope my screen is quite visible to all of you. Hello, is my screen visible? So yeah, because it is not a two-way session, so I don't think so. I'll be able to ask you questions. So I would begin with my own question. That if I say that what is storytelling, so most of you would be thinking that storytelling is something which is you may be thinking that it is a childhood experience when a story is told to a child doing a different voice for every character, because each one of us must have had this experience from our grandparents, from our parents, from our teachers, and so on and so forth. We all are familiar with the traditional forms of storytelling, right? Fairy tales and legends, and but storytelling is not just that take place within a pool of limelight in a nursery or round a campfire. Storytelling is far beyond that. And since we are living in an AI driven world where I believe where everything can be uh, artificial intelligence can overpower, can dominate even the human mind, but I don't think so it can anyway remove or reduce the potential of a storytelling. So storytelling is really powerful. Storytelling is something which is a part of our daily lives, be it in the anecdote we tell to our friends, the books we read, and the films we watch. I believe that stories are also recognized as an important way. What am I doing today with you is that I'm trying to connect with you, you being my audience today, and I am telling you a story. Storytelling is not only done with the kids. Storytelling, as I said earlier, it is increasingly used in the workplaces, even the advertisements which you see, the fundraising, wherever we go, wherever we try to connect with people, we use this power knowingly or unknowingly, and the power is of storytelling. I hope you agree with me. Yes? Can I continue? Hello?
Yes, ma'am. You're doing really good.
Yeah. So, ma'am, storytelling in tech, I mean, in tech marketing, because we all are professionals. So, when I talk about technology, this tech marketing technology, the challenge of communicating complex topics, sometimes it becomes really difficult to deliver, to explain some complicated topics, some complex topics, often laden with the technical jargons, to all those decision makers who might not have a technical background. So in that case, if that key data, that information, that statistics is explained through a narrative structure, content becomes really accessible, memorable, and trustworthy. So all in all, I believe that storytelling is a timeless and a universal human tradition, which we don't which we knowingly or unknowingly we use it. I reiterate this, and it holds a profound power that transcends the culture, that transcends the generations, that transcends the. Yes, sir. I am deliberately not moving it. I'll be moving it with time, sir. Yes, sir. Now, from ancient oral traditions to that contemporary digital platforms, stories have been the bedrock of human communication, passing down knowledge, shaping cultures, connecting people across time and space. So, when it comes to storytelling, I remember one of the very famous quotes that the one who is a storyteller must understand that you need to be interested, not interesting to the audience, or else the audience will never take in. So, this is something which is required by when it comes to one of the positive aspects which you require when it comes to storytelling. Now, what is storytelling? That I have explained you. Now, how is storytelling beneficial? Now, when it comes to understanding that the benefits of the storytelling, number one is that it connects you emotionally. The stories have a unique ability to evoke the emotions, create a profound connection between the storyteller and the audience. Whether it's through laughter, it's through tears, it's through suspense, it's through emotions, it engages the audience on a different platform, making the narrative more memorable and more impactful. So this emotional resonance enables the storytellers to convey some complex messages. It builds a lasting connection. Now, I remember here that there was the Empathy Museum, Claire Pete. He said that stories have a transformative power to allow us to see the world in a different way than we do if we just encounter it on our own. So these are the exact words I've quoted. Now, besides connecting emotionally, it also helps in transmitting knowledge. Storytelling is an effective tool, an effective vehicle which transmits knowledge, not only knowledge but also wisdom. Your Our grandparents, through allegories, through parables, through anecdotes, they have simplified the complex concepts, which made them accessible and memorable. And till date, as being a teacher, I would like to add on here that being a teacher, sometimes I have to cook stories there and then, because I want to get connected with my children, and I want to bring down that moral of the gist of the chapter, the moral of the chapter, seep into the children's mind, and that I could only do using a storytelling. So sometimes I have to cook stories there and then. I have to be proactive at times, right? So it makes it more accessible, complex concept. It makes it more memorable. Educational stories have been used, we should not forget that history has educational stories which is passed on to the next generation, the moral lessons which it has, and it's through stories only. Not only that, it shapes our perspectives. uh, why I say so? Because sometimes we see the world with our own perception, but when it is brought to us in terms of stories, when we allow individuals to step into the shoes of others, then we understand that we are broadening the horizons. The power to influence these perspectives through storytelling can be a force for positive change, challenging stereotypes, and promoting inclusivity. Moreover, it helps in building identity and culture. So cultural myths, all those cultural myths, the folklore, legends, they play a very significant role in defining a community's values, beliefs, and traditions. When we share these stories, communities reinforce the shared identity, and it helps in preserving the cultural heritage. Moving ahead, it helps you to motivate action. Storytelling is it's a very potential tool for inspiring action. Whether it's to call to adventure, a hero's journey, a triumph over adversities, stories really have the power to ignite motivation and to drive change. All the leaders, the activists, and the visionaries, they do nothing but they use these compelling narratives to rally, to support, mobilize communities, spark movements that shape the course of history. I hope none of us can forget that this we have this historic moment which we all will be witnessing on 22nd of January. The way it has been portrayed, it's just a storytelling, right? The media, what the media is doing, it's to bring out the news. It's not only reading, it's creating a story. So storytelling is, as I already said, is a very potential medium, a very potential, an able tool which should be used and which can be used by each and every one to connect, to empathize, to motivate, to build identity and culture, to shape the perspectives, and so on and so forth. Last but not the least, I think when we narrate stories, when we explain something in the form of stories, we are able to remember it effectively, we are able to retain it effectively, and we are able to pass it on effectively, because our human brain is wired to remember stories more effectively than isolated facts. I hope I am adding some worth to your webinar with this. This is memory and retention. Human brain is wired to remember stories more effectively than isolated facts. Moving ahead with the next slide is what all I said. I've tried to conclude it. Conclusion, the power of storytelling. Storytelling is a timeless force that weaves the fabric of human experience. Why I say so? Because from ancient campfires to modern digital platforms, stories have captivated our minds. It had stirred our emotions, had shaped our understanding of the world. So, embracing this art of storytelling, which of course is not everyone's cup of tea, because a lot is required when you want to use this tool. A lot of body language. You should have a positive body language, an impactful tone, an impactful way of presentation is required when you want to make this storytelling more effective. Embracing the art of storytelling, it allows individuals and communities to share, to learn, and to grow together, which unlocks the magic that lies within the narratives that bind us all. So, as we continue to tell and to listen to stories, we actually perpetuate the rich tradition that has been an integral part of our human journey, because that is an easiest way by which we can learn. Moving ahead, what are the activities to harness the influence of storytelling? There are various activities. Why I have chosen this? Because being a teacher, I am a storyteller too. So I think I could do justice if I tell you how which all activities can help you to bring to develop this power of storytelling. So some of the activities are, we can conduct workshops. It's not that you being professionals cannot conduct workshops. You can, right? So conducting workshops where participants can develop and share their own stories, which it encourages them to focus on personal experiences, cultural anecdotes, or imaginative tales. When Madam was talking about as an HR, and there was a gentleman, sir, who was asking a question that how to retain the employees. We train them, and we prepare them, and then they leave the organization for something better. I believe the best connection you can have with your employees is through the storytelling. I am not saying that you start preaching them, but when we give a platform where we can narrate, we can explain, we can discuss, and congenial environment will be created, and that would make not all, but yeah, 75 to 80% of the employees more loyal and more honest towards the organization. So definitely an environment has to be created. We need to go beyond that, then beyond the employer and the employee relationship, and that can only be done when we can, with a cup of coffee, we can discuss. And discussions can never be done unless until you have this power within you, whereby you can tell and you can explain what is going on in that turmoil which goes on inside an employee, which can be went out to the employer, not just in rage, but with a very positive way of explanation. So definitely organizations should conduct workshops for the employees, whereby they can develop and they can share their own stories. Encourage them to focus on personal experiences, cultural anecdotes, or imaginative tales. This what all I'm speaking, I'm talking on as a teacher. Now, which it will not only enhance the communication skills, but it will also foster a sense of community through shared narratives. At least we'll get to understand the other's point of view if we'll give them an environment whereby they can speak and they can narrate. We can have interactive storytelling sessions, right? Now, when I say interactive storytelling sessions, there the audience becomes the part of the narrative, right? Which can include role playing, group storytelling, or audience participation. The engagement, which would create a dynamic and a memorable experience, enhancing the impact of story. Now, the next is storytelling circles. These are the examples illustrating the power of storytelling. I'll have a few more. When we create some, we can establish some storytelling circles within communities or organizations, right? Where members can take turns sharing their stories. Now, stories here does not mean, as I already said, some fairy tales. No, stories is something which is related to the problem. How to present the problem is a kind of a story, which would highlight their unique perspectives, which will foster and fostering with understanding and unity. This activity builds a supportive environment where individuals feel heard, they feel valued. Now, there are multiple examples of storytelling which we I keep on doing with my children. There, as I say, there are some storytellers which storytelling, when you adapt and you adopt this idea of storytelling, it can have a negative and a positive aspect too. So it depends upon you, the choice of stories, your choice of stories. Like, for example, if I'm teaching in my class, the favorite one of my favorite stories of Malala Yousafzai. Now, this is an example which I'm quoting from my sessions. Now, Malala's journey from a young Pakistani girl advocating for education to a global symbol. So, this kind of a story will definitely be making a child understand the word resilience, the power of resilience, the power of courage. And I believe that it's a powerful narrative which can be done. Again, when it comes to professionals, definitely Malala Yousafzai's stories, we all must have read or we all must have heard. But if we want to make our employees resilient and able to face the problems, because every organization has challenges, and employees, sometimes the employees and the employers are not able to face those challenges. So we need to have some kind of a sessions whereby we can discuss these positive attributes of a human personality. And definitely, I think then we'll be on the common platform and we can meet the challenges together. Now, there is these are some of the examples. There is an animated film up, which tells a poignant story of love, loss, and adventure. When I'm quoting this, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to tell you that all of us have some or the other problem related to these this only. Whether it is, of course, love is something which we'll not be discussing on the professional platform, but the sometimes when an employee is mixing a personal turmoil with the professional setup, definitely and he's not able to meet that, and he's not able to create a balance, and that's where he's not in a right state of mind, and that is the time when he couldn't face the challenges, and if he believes in quitting, and we think that we have prepared the person and the person is leaving the organization, right? We invested so much on the person and the person is leaving, but barely we know that what the employee is undergoing, what are his personal problems, because we never gave him a chance to speak, to open up, right? And neither the employee has this courage to speak and to open up. So the setup of storytelling helps to bring both the employers and the employee, the community inside, the small groups inside that organization on a common platform, whereby a solution can be taken out. right? Now, there are a couple of that. I hope all of us have, we all know that Me Too movement, which gained momentum as the survivors shared their stories of harassment and assault, right? Similarly, the TED Talks, which we often rely on, compelling storytelling to convey complex ideas. So these are the ways and means. So these examples, these different examples will be a way to make you understand that storytelling is not something which can be which should be not taken non seriously. It is actually should be a part of every HR should understand that when he or she is dealing with the employees hired by them, uh, should give them a way to express themselves, right? It should not be a one way dealing. And I believe that we can unleash the magic within us and captivate the world with our stories by igniting the power of storytelling. So this is all from my side. Okay. Any questions?
Yes, yes. I want to. I was just waiting for this opportunity. Thank you, sir. Ma'am, being the professor of English, or having the similar background, it helps us to correlate with all the things together.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy to listen to you about your storytelling. But I would like to know, storytelling, it's a very much functional part where we express our emotions, feelings, and through a particular the way of it's an individual skill. Through that expressions, we just express our emotions. But from the student's point of view, I would like to know, you have any particular brief note when it comes on writing the story? Any particular note or tips you would like to mention, ma'am?
uh, Ma'am, when I yeah, ma'am. So you want to know that what could be the tips on storytelling, right? If I have understood your question.
In terms of writing it, ma'am.
Okay, in terms of writing. Ma'am, see, I believe that when you want to write a story, you need to have a clear idea. That's very important. Right. When you start with a clear idea, it becomes essential. Then it gives you a roadmap for the story, right? And then when you have an idea to it, that as to what would be your platform, that time you can create your characters also, right? When you make your characters, because characters, I believe, are the heart of the story. And a good story writing, it involves creating characters which are well rounded, which are interesting, and which are relatable. And since if you have a good story and has a well developed and a well placed plot, that keeps the reader engaged, and then the readers are invested in the story. And I believe, last but not the least, any good story doesn't require a flowery language. Any good story, it involves the use of language which is clear, which is simple, which is precise, concise, and which is effective, and which can convey the intended message, the message which you intend to you want your readers to have it, and emotions of the story. Of course, setting an atmosphere is very important. But yeah, initially, when especially for the beginners, when we talk about the setting, then the atmosphere, the themes, yes, because but themes comes under the plot which you've decided. But themes and motives, resonance, impact, these are certain words which are very technical for the students who are beginners. So in that case, I believe that first is the most importantly is your plot, the idea that on which the well developed and well placed plot. Then on the basis of that, you need to have some characters, and the characters being the heart of the story should be interesting, and the language, which should be simple.
Absolutely brilliant, ma'am. Thank you so much. Well, last one question. Do you have any of your favorite story, ma'am? I would like to listen to that if it is possible for you.
Ma'am, my favorite story, you will be surprised that I am still stuck on that story of the tortoise and the rabbit, which I use it in my class off and on. Yeah. And each one of us must have read this. None of, I think all of us who are present here must have heard that story from our grandparents, the hare and the tortoise. Because this is a story which is well used in my classroom when I have to tell my children that you be a tortoise, don't be a hare, that you scored good marks and then after scoring good marks, you wait for the next examination where you'll work. So you need to be consistent, you need to be persistent with your work. With a meticulous approach only, you will be able to gain good marks. So my favorite story till date is that rabbit and the tortoise. Though there are many, but yeah, this is something which I use.
Absolutely.
And otherwise, I'm a good. I mean, I cook stories also sometimes because I have to do it standing on my toes in the classroom. I have to cook stories when as I said, that when I have to deliver my lesson and I have to reach to my children with the theme of the chapter.
Absolutely fine. I mean, most of us, I mean, those who are available here as a teachers, they definitely must be cooking some stories in their classes. Yes. Sometimes it is really required, but I really understood the real meaning of storytelling in today's session, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. We have Dr. Swanand Shukla. Sir.
Sir, I have been connected to our WhatsApp group since so long. I mean, one of my friends had given me the link and I had approached you. You had asked me as a resource person once upon a time. But during that time, I was too busy. And later on, I traveled here in US and I hardly find out the time to connect to all the programs. As of now, I'm a little bit free, so I thought let me go through the series because these days series are going really nice. So that's how I got connected. But I'm connected to a WhatsApp group, so I'm getting all the updates, sir. And that's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Sir.
Hello, good evening, Dr. Bedkar sir, Prashant sir, and thank you very much, ma'am, about the art of storytelling. Is really art. It is not a science, but it is art. But I belong to science stream, and especially the medical field I belongs to. So storytelling is like, in our case, is a scenario what we are giving. And from the scenario, people develop, their ideas and concept about the medical aspects. So I think that is also a kind of a scenarios when we are placing, we have to cook that scenario sometimes. And we are placing it in front of patient. What you said, a correct word. So we are doing that, ma'am. And one more thing, what I'm doing is, when we are going with the storytelling, because we are going with the school health checkup programs and other things, where we have to make the students, the small kids, to aware about the various kinds of health issues. So what we are doing is we are putting a story halfway, and then we ask them to conclude the story from their side, and various different views comes from their side, and we can come to know about their emotional status, about their health status, about their living standard and everything. So I think storytelling is having a very great impact. I remember one of those, debate competition I attended, and one of the very strong person came over there, and he created story. He placed the story in front, and he attracted the audience to his speech. Otherwise, it was going lingering, and people were dozing, and people were, moving here and there. But as soon as he started, he caught the view means attention of everyone. So that is a power of storytelling. So thank you very much, ma'am, for storytelling part. And is there any other tricks, with the storytelling we can go with? If we can elaborate on this also. The one I said like this, what I have developed, evolved with my own experience. But is there any other technique is there, so we can utilize it in a better way when we are in a field work? Sometimes we are going in a tribal area, somewhere we are going, and people are not there to listen a speech, lecture. But if you are telling a story, people listen very carefully. So is there any kind of technology trick or something? If it is there, please elaborate, ma'am. Thank you.
Sir, Dr. Swanand Shukla ji, thank you for asking the question. But I hope you have you heard me when I started that the only thing which the technology cannot do is tell a story. So, telling a story is an art which, as you rightly said, that which we have to only do it because the technology cannot do it for us. In this AI driven world, as I said, everything can be taken over, but not the way of narration. So that is why I said that the storytelling is the most effective tool. As you said that we move on with the story, and then halfway we ask the students to write their own ideas, and then you are surprised to see that the way they conclude the stories with different ideas. There is one way, other way of moving ahead, proceeding is that you can ask the children to give a different ending to the story. The story which has been given an end, what is their idea? How can a different end be given to the story? This will also this can also be used in your because you are a science you deal with the science subject. I mean, not a teacher, but then yeah, science is your forte. So could be used in a different way so that you can see that how what comes out could be a different research altogether. So a new invention or a new discovery, some I believe after with this way. Hope,
And I want one more thing, ma'am.
so
We have to understand the emotion of the audience also when we are telling the story,
absolutely.
because whether it's for them or no, whether they can digest that things or no, that is also one of the very important aspect. What I feel.
Yes.
What you want to say about this, ma'am?
Very true, sir. See, when you are narrating a story, you are able to understand. You can able to make out the body language of the person, and then you can understand whether somebody is interested in you in or not. Or you should keep your mouth shut now because nobody is interested in listening to you. But when it comes to story, I mean, of course, it gives you a platform whereby you can understand, you can read the person's mind, and that is the time when you if you think that nobody is interested in read I mean nobody is much interested in listening to you, definitely you can put the ball in the court of the audience, and let them come out with some narratives. But at the end of the day, it will help, sir, in creating a platform. As I said, it will create a way, a page where all the speaker and the listener will be on the same platform, and that is where they will not think that it is just because then otherwise it becomes preaching rather than an interactive session. So I think that would be another way of dealing with it.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other question, please?
I think there is no question from the
Okay.
side of participants. Ma'am, really, it's a wonderful lecture
Thank you,
you have
sir.
delivered in the session. I'm also from the English faculty. So it is an art. Really, it is a skill one should have in the field of teaching, learning. So very nice you explained
Thank you.
in today's session. Now I request the chief organizer of the series, Honorable Principal M. Betkar sir, for conclude the session. Please.
Thank you, sir. No worries, sir. It's okay. It's absolutely fine, sir.
Thank you, sir. Now it's too much time have passed. I move towards the vote of thanks. For today's session on the dais was Honorable Kamini Madam. She is from English faculty, who talked upon the topic power of storytelling, where Madam have expressed her thoughts regarding the topic within very short time, but explain a lot of things, Madam. Really, you introduce how one should say the story, how he should telling. Then the different steps of the storytelling, activities of storytelling, how to make an effective the storytelling. Then the different steps. Storytelling is so powerful. Powers of storytelling in teaching, learning. Then different benefits of storytelling. Now these points you covered in your lecture, madam, very sincerely, clearly, in a simple language. So I'm very, very thankful to you. You joined to the series as a resource person. Uh, you are from Dehradun, KASIGA
Yes.
school.
Yes, sir.
Yes, madam. Because I am the team of member of the organizing committee. It is my duty to introduce all the speakers, but I have joined too late in the series. So very sorry for that, and it's my proud to vote of thanks today's resource person. So thank you so much, madam. I thanks the chief organizer of the series, Honorable Principal Betkar sir. Also thanks faculty members of my college, Dr. Praveen Kamble sir, Dr. Anita Doli madam. And I should not forget all those dear participants, including Dr. Swanand Shukla sir, Manisha ma'am, who joined regularly and share some thoughts, ask nice questions. So thanks a lot to you all once again. Now please fill the feedback link which is given in the chat box. With the kind permission of the chief organizer, I declare the session is over. Thank you so much, Kamini madam.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.